IGEPHA im Gespräch. Der Podcast der Austrian Self Care Association.
Hello and a warm welcome to a new episode of IGEPHA im Gespräch, the podcast brought to you by the Austrian Self Care Association. My name is Christina Nageler and I serve as the Executive Director of IGEPHA. The potential and risks of artificial intelligence are currently a hot topic of discussion. Our latest podcast season dives into this very subject, focusing on its impact on digital communication within the self-care domain. Today, in my podcast studio, I'm joined by Fabian Kaske, who has been an early explorer of the transformative influence of artificial intelligence as a game changer in the digital self-care industry. Welcome, Fabian.
Hi, Christina. Great to be here.
Before we dive into the disruptive effects of AI systems, let me briefly introduce my guest today. Fabian Kaske is the managing director of the Munich-based agency Dr. Kaske. Before joining his family's agency, he gained experience at the management consultancy Oliver Wyman and at Procter & Gamble, following a management degree in Germany, Singapore, Paris, and Hong Kong. This background laid the foundation for his deep expertise in a constantly evolving field with artificial intelligence as a key cross-industry technology. Fabian, a recent study by Smile BI, the e-commerce consulting company of Dr. Kaske, explored the potentials of these key technologies in the digital pharmaceutical industry. What are the key findings of this study?
Thank you for asking. We found that in general, interest in AI is super high. At the same time, strategies and how to apply it is still very unclear. We find there's still a portion of companies where the use of AI is forbidden. And at the same time, more and more companies over the last months have been realizing the potential of the technology and have been encouraging their employees to use AI in their daily work. However, it is still unclear what exactly to do. I think there's a question that's normal because it's generative AI is so new. ChatGPT is only 1.5 years old. And so all of us are still figuring it out. What I think is encouraging to see that especially over the last 6 months, we've seen an uptick in people trying to apply it in self-care companies and making their first experiments. And I think it's still very, very early days. So everybody's figuring it out. But that also means clear strategies and tools and products are still on the horizon and not realized yet.
And what kind of opportunities do AI technologies present for the self-care industry?
I think in general, the best way to think about the benefits of AI are that it makes us smarter and faster. So in any area, we can think about how can AI make this job for us faster? How can it automate part or the whole task? And anything around data or content creation, how can it lead to a better outcome? How can it make us smarter? And so that's the general promise. I think the reason why a lot of companies and individuals are still struggling with it is because the clear applications and tools have still to be identified and built. And so we, again, are at the beginning of this transformative journey. We can already see there's so much potential. And at the same time, of course, we see the regulatory hurdles, the concern about jobs, the concern about what is going to happen with my life, with my daily work. I think the best way to think about it is that these tools help us to be better versions of ourselves. That the tools help us to become superhumans, where if we give the right briefing, if we ask the right questions, they can elevate us to be better, smarter, faster. And I think that's a very positive thing.
Okay. Well, which tools would you then recommend for daily operations within the self-care industry?
I think it's important for everyone to work with ChatGPT, as it's just the number one tool for generating text. If you are in an area where you also need images, I can highly recommend Midjourney. And then I think down the road, we will have many specialized applications that help for specific use cases. One of these tools that's emerging is Perplexity, which is great for research questions and is really good at citing sources. And then I think in the next years, every self-care company will have their own version of ChatGPT and will have their own AI system where the companies combining their own data, their own know-how with the advantages of generative AI technology, and thereby making the benefits of AI even greater. So even faster and even better outcomes, smarter outcomes. So right now, I encourage everyone to especially work with ChatGPT and try to apply it to as many areas as possible. For example, I found it super strong in personal situations. When you have a difficult situation with a colleague or employee, it's very strong in helping you make the situation better to derive a better outcome. So just experiment with it as much as possible, test, and then the use cases will emerge.
Do you know any company that already has their own ChatGPT?
Actually, we have our own version. Yes, yeah. Smile AI combines ChatGPT with our data and our know-how. And we know from big companies like Bayer or Stada, they are internally working on their own versions. And of course, there's a lot of strategizing going on at the moment. Companies thinking about what do they want to do. I think at the same time, right now, there's almost no company that actually has something.
We as a consumer, of course, also use ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot. What do you think needs to be done to help us as a consumer to use these new tools for health communications to our advantages? And what role can self-care companies play within this game?
Great question. I think that for these kinds of tools to really apply to improving your health, of course, a consumer can ask general questions to ChatGPT and get really good answers. At the same time, I think this is an area where we will see an AI-enabled products emerge. We have had a wave of digital health apps over the last years. And I think AI will accelerate this wave where we will have more personalized and smarter assistants that support the health journey of consumers. So regarding the health or the self-care industry, I think this can be a new and very attractive business model where you're not only selling physical products in the form of pills, but also to have at the same time a digital companion that helps the consumer with mental well-being, answers certain questions around their health, supports them in making better decisions. Of course, the bar is super high because you are dealing with somebody's health, so you have to get it right. And that's especially important or especially difficult if you have such a smart system which is working in a probabilistic way. So you can never be 100% sure what an engine like ChatGPT will answer. You can teach it many things, but then it might still reply in a different way. So that will be a big challenge for these health companions. But I think this is opening the door very wide for a digital business model to emerge alongside the traditional business model for self-care companies. And I think this is even if you don't build a solution yourself as a self-care company, it's an important space to watch, because we've seen this gradual shift from treating diseases to preventing diseases. And so supplements is one area that has been growing recently and will grow a lot in the future. And the question is, if there's a new digital companion, will it recommend your product or a different product? Or does the user even need, for example, a drug that helps them to stay off cigarettes? Or can a smart companion actually be more efficacious in preventing you from smoking cigarettes? So that'll be a very interesting space to watch, where digital companions can accelerate your business. They can be a new business model. They can support selling your products, but they could also be a competitor in certain cases.
You just almost answered my next question, because you said it could be a competitor. So how do you see the self-care market evolving with the influence of AI technology? You said something, but do you have more to say on that?
Yes. So I think in general, we will see a positive trend. So this big shift, instead of treating a disease, preventing it, I think there's this other aspect of technology and the abundance of information, which is these tools will make us smarter. They will help us make better decisions. And this will, I think, lead to more people investing into preventing diseases. And this is ultimately one of the sweet spots for the self-care industry, where you can supply really helpful products that support mental health, for example. We've seen a big rise in the probiotics market, and all these areas where there's a lot of helpful tools, which you just cannot get from just eating well. So I really believe that in general, people will take more supplements that help them be better. And so in general, I think we will continue to see a growing self-care market with a focus on preventing versus treating. Then at the same time, you can accelerate this by trying to be at the forefront of this other change that is happening, the AI tools that will emerge. And for example, we've seen already at Amazon, you don't just have normal search results. You can, in the US, also get a chatbot generated search result, which uses Amazon's own ChatGPT version. And so the question for somebody in marketing and sales at a self-care company will be, how do I stay relevant in this new environment? How can I make sure Amazon chat recommends my product and not a competitor product? So the touch points are changing, they're evolving, and we are continuing to have more and more possible touch points. The ChatGPT chat is a touch point. The Amazon chat search is a new touch point. We've seen the emergence of TikTok and Instagram becoming more and more important for self-care. So there's a lot of opportunity there. But also on all these new touch points, of course, will your brand show up or will a competitor brand show up? So we've also seen supplement companies go from 0 to 100 million in revenue just pushed by Instagram ads and Instagram influencer offerings. And these are companies which do not sell in pharmacies, not even online pharmacies. They use their own DTC shops. They sell on Amazon. So there's big companies that have already been created over the last 5 to 10 years. And I think with generative AI, this will just accelerate. And the question for the self-care industry will be, can I evolve fast enough? Can I also play on these new playing fields, all these new touch points that are emerging? And I think at the same time, pharmacies will continue to grow. They'll continue to stay relevant. But the market overall is growing so much, it's not only growing at pharmacies. Everything is getting more digital, and digital in many cases means users go to Amazon, users visit online shops that are direct to consumer. They use drugstores for supplements. So the landscape is getting more complex. And luckily, all these tools, ChatGPT, etc., can help us to play several playing fields at the same time. And much more than we were able to in the past with the same resources. But it also creates a need to be present there, or at least be aware of these new playing fields where consumers are being influenced in their buying decisions.
Do you think, with all you just mentioned, do the self-care industry have the right employees to do this job?
Interesting question. I think it's something that is not natural to an established self-care company. But I see that digital marketing and e-commerce departments have been growing quite a bit in established self-care companies. And the right people are often already there. The complexity is more in the structure, I think, because you have medical, you have regulatory, and
you're not allowed to do anything.
These things are mandatory. And if you look at DTC startups, they have this, let's say, American approach that is pioneered by companies like Uber, which have this motto: ask for forgiveness and not for permission. So these DTC companies, they just try. They publish things. They do not think as hard about, is this 100% regulatorily compliant? And so that's, of course, super tough to compete then if your competitors are just able to publish more, if they are saying more about their products, and if it just takes you a lot more time because you have to go through all these steps to do anything in a company. But what we've seen is that some companies have established new business units which operate side by side to the established business. That's one path to having new routines, new processes. And I think that's a really, really important aspect of it. How can I play in this new area where the rules are different, the competitors are different, and still stay true to my core and my roots and comply to all the things that I have to comply to?
Well, a great future ahead, I think. Now a last, maybe a little bit more private question. What advice would you give our podcast audience to make the most of this technology for their own self-care?
Great question. I think using it in as many areas and for as many different use cases as possible is the best thing you can do right now. For example, I set myself a daily goal to ask ChatGPT at least one question on any topic. And this helps me to really learn about this technology. And I continue to find new use cases where the technology surprises me in how well it can recommend better and new ways to do things. So just experiment, test, try it out in a way that works for you. I really like having the ChatGPT app on my phone. Then I can even speak into it, and it gives me really great responses. I don't have to type myself. Sometimes it's hard to type these really long prompts. And so, I'm just finding a way where you can use it as much as possible, I think is the best thing you can do.
Thank you, Fabian, for these fascinating insights and good tips into the potential of AI for the future of the self-care industry. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
Dear podcast audience, I invite you to join us for our next episode. I'll continue to explore the opportunities and challenges of these disruptive technologies in conversation with top experts in artificial intelligence. Also make use of our other services like the IGEPHA blog or our weekly newsletter. Our working groups and training sessions offer more insights into enhancing self-care and the self-care industry in Austria. If you'd like to learn more about IGEPHA services, feel free to email me at office@igepha.at. Thank you for your interest, and I look forward to welcoming you to our next podcast episode.